Well, wouldn't you know, I took a look at the old battery holder, and in the back of it I had these long bolts that I put in the middle here. So perhaps let's do it in the back of this thing. Let's put a long bolt in here. And these are long and thin bolts, so we're going to use the thin Allen wrench. And yep, looks like these are the ones that go back there. So put this one in. We only get 2 of these long bolts with this kit, so they probably both go back there. So for the record, I'm thinking these long bolts do go in the back here. Let's move the long bolts from the front here to the back and see how that works. I got one here in the front, as you remember, so we'll take it out. It sure does seem like we need 4 of these. Because I removed this bolt here in the front, and it doesn't have much leeway, so I'm going to leave it in there. I think we need 4 of these things, actually. Okay, well, looks like here's one over here, so I didn't see this one. So with this kit that we got, with the battery holder, there is another long bolt here. So I'm going to use 4 of these long bolts, as you can see. So these long bolts here, these thin long bolts right here, these are used, these thin long ones that take the smaller Allen wrench. Okay? These look to be used here, 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 and here. We have these 3 in. We're going to put one more in there. And that'll secure the battery holder down. There's probably an instruction manual on how to do this. They didn't send one, and what goes where. I think you should be careful when you take it apart. I usually am not that careful. Usually in a hurry, in a rush. Okay, well that went in nicely, so all 4 of these are in. Let's batten down this battery feeding line for the battery main power with the red wire out toward the edge of the frame. Okay, that's how that goes. That will go in just like this. And I'm betting I can use 2 little black ring bolts I have to put that thing together. Just going to reuse some of these black ones from the old airframe and put them in here. That way they're rather invisible. Okay, those went in very nicely. Got one in there. Put in one more. This one is not going in so well. So this one's not holding at all. So when you get a situation like that where something isn't working, you take this back apart and figure out why. These are probably not long enough. If you look at the length of these bolts, they probably aren't long enough, so let's find some longer ones. They have to be long and thin. And they did give us black bolts with this kit, so I'm thinking those were right. And taking a look at this, was there an obstruction keeping it from seating? Let's check that out. Maybe it wasn't seated all the way. So now I'm pushing this down really hard to see if we can seat it. It looks seated. I can see the screw holes down there. Let's try another one of these black bolts in here and see what happens. That seems like it fits in there, so let's screw it in. Well, now it's going in, so I must have had it misaligned. So you need to be careful, right? Yep, that went in there just fine. Let's put in the other bolt here. on the other side of the battery clip. Here we go. And that's going in nicely. Okay, so check it for tightness. Looks good. Okay, this airframe has no short circuits. All the wires are... Looks like this wire came out. I would rather put the battery in now to see if it goes in before this thing goes together, right? So let's put the battery in. This battery is charged up, so the airframe will come alive. Be careful with that. It shouldn't do anything. Oh, it looks like it is turned on, so the thing is trying to boot up. It doesn't have any ESC, so it's probably going to have this marmalade color saying that, hey, I'm not feeling too well, so you can see the flight controller is blinking. The RC 2.4 is blinking and the LED is working. So anyway, those are good signs that we've done some things here correctly. Take the battery back out. Check the door that it rotates okay. It seems to bind a little bit. It's not so good. Maybe that's all the further has to close that was up to there. Okay, so now we want to make sure all the wires are routed and taped, because this is where you start to put the bird back together with the other half, with the top. So let's put this wire back in that got knocked out. Make sure the ESC control wires in the bottom. And here's where the frame getting put together will damage the wires. So you really got to do this carefully. This is a very serious part. I've taken this thing apart a few times because I wasn't prudent enough. And I sliced some wires. So it had to solder the wires back up that I sliced in the airframe. So you really want to make sure that all these wires are out of the way. And this wire, of course, you want to have it sticking out so you can attach the so it looks like all of it jostling around. These wires have been knocked out. So let's put them all back in. This is only done once until you cover up the bottom of the airframe with the top of the airframe. So just make sure these are right. This is a pain, but you want to get it done just once and you're good to go. Okay, so I can see around these corners, is there anything it's going to hit? I don't see anything. And what's really bad are these smaller wires. These can get hit too. So there's some tape I had in there last time. We should reactivate this tape. Make sure the wires are all held down, which they are. And I don't see any other obstructions. Looks like everything's good. Okay, so the frame is, last time I had these wires cut, so I taped them, so those are going to go okay. These look good. These look good here. Those look fine. Make sure the screw holes are all unencumbered. Make sure the motors have wires coming out. Okay, that motor's good. There's wires in this motor, it's good. This motor has wires, it's good. This motor has wires, it's good too. So I can see all the wires in the motors. You can give them a tug once this frame's together. So I'm going to stop the video, and the next one will be putting it back together as far as the two halves are joined.